Hey, what is happening guys, Chris here, and in this video I'll be giving my full review on Dying Light. It's a first-person action adventure game with survival horror elements and made by the developers of the first Dead Island game, the Polish video game developer Techland. Dying Light is a multi-platform game and is available for the PS4, Xbox One and PC. The story takes place in an eastern fictional city called Haran. The city has been quarantined due to an outbreak that is infecting the city's inhabitants and causing them to become zombies. You assume the role of an undercover operative called Kyle Crane, working for the GRE, and it's his mission to search for a rogue agent known as Rise, who has obtained a file that could potentially damage the GRE's reputation and destroy the agency. Not long after landing in Haran, you'll meet a group of survivors that save your life. To repay them for this, you follow out some quests for them, such as acquiring antizin, a drug that helps suppress the zombie virus to people who have been infected. The story escalates from here though, as you soon realise that you've been infected with the virus, and the only way to stop the virus taking over you is to find Rise, who happens to be taking over Haran by controlling the medicine supply and threatening smaller groups of survivors all over the city. Now, without revealing any big spoilers, there's quite a few other events that take place revolving around the plot. The characters in Dying Light are quite typical, but nevertheless important for the story's progression. Your character, Crane, sets out his mission with that only in mind, but over time he sympathises with the survivors and chooses to put them before his initial mission, as he himself becomes a survivor in this dead apocalyptic world. Rise is your typical evil warlord type of character who shows no compassion or remorse, overwhelmed with his own power, often doing things like killing his own henchmen just to prove a point. The characters in Dying Light help to develop the game in a drama-like way, but most of them never really break through and become very memorable, though they do become characters that you actually feel like helping along the way. There's a few interesting people you'll come across in some of the game's side missions, but none of these really impact the storyline of the game much, and are mainly there just to set you up with simple tasks. Dying Light is set out in an open world, full of areas to explore, tasks to do, and missions to complete. It's quite similar to Dead Island. You'll start out feeling fairly vulnerable to the zombie hordes wandering around Haran. Your energy levels will be low and your weapons will be weak. But over time, as you progress through the game's skill trees and you find better weapons, the typical zombie shouldn't prove to be much of a problem. The game features a parkour system that works pretty well with the overall environment. Occasionally though, it can feel a little bit unresponsive, but most of the time it flows well, allowing you to traverse the rooftops and higher platforms easily. The combat in Dying Light revolves around you swinging your weapons at enemies and dodging from their lunges and attacks. Zombie enemies, specifically the biters, are quite predictable in the way that they move, other enemies aren't so. Throughout the game you'll find other types of zombies that attack you in other ways, such as shooting toxic guns at you from a distance and even exploding when you're nearby, dealing devastating amounts of damage. Human enemies, in the form of Rise's henchmen, are also around out to kill you, and these guys are much more of a challenge to take out, dodging your attacks and using strong weapons and even guns against you. You can use a gun, but ammo is in very short supply, so it's best saving it for emergencies. The gunplay actually feels very stiff and it can be very difficult to aim accurately, but most of the time this won't matter as melee weapons are your number one choice. The weapons in this game can break after repeated use, meaning you'll need to keep actively searching for new ones along the way. Although this might annoy some of you out there, it also gives Dying Light a more survival based structure, forcing you to loot and seek down supplies and objects such as knives, pipes and all sorts of things to use against your threats. The gameplay can be a fun, laid back zombie bashing thrill through the day, but when it gets dark, things start to get a bit more risky. The night becomes a much more dangerous, tense and downright scary time to wander around on the streets of Haran, as the game genre shifts more towards horror and stealth. Visibility is reduced and a very different kind of menace lurks in the shadows of the night. A much quicker, stronger zombie called the Volatile. And if they spot you, they'll hunt you down, often in small groups, chasing you along the rooftops and down the streets. They can kill you very fast and have the ability to pounce on you and kill you instantly, so it's definitely best to avoid coming into contact with these at all costs. Of course you can sleep overnight at one of the many safe houses you acquire, but daring to go out at night will boost your skill XP, so that you can unlock new abilities on the skill tree faster. This risk-reward system is quite good as it challenges players to choose whether to take a risk or wait it out for the morning. Missions in the game are usually quite normal for open world games, making you travel to a specific place on a map to uncover the next piece of story, often involving slicing down the infected along the way. There could have been a bit more variety in the way that the missions and side missions are set out, as most of them are very similar to each other and they don't differentiate from each other very much. They usually involve you to travel somewhere and then collect things or fix something, though the constant skill progression and the day and night cycle keeps things interesting. Dying Light is a great looking game. It offers realistic lighting, shadows and particle effects that bring out the character in Harran's environment, and help emphasise the decaying properties of this apocalyptic city. The textures in the game look well detailed and help make the world look believable. The water doesn't look the best, but that's no big deal. I never really noticed any issues with the frame rate either, as it held out really well, looking smooth, even in times where I dashed across rooftops and swung a hammer into a zombie's face. The environments look very good, though some of the character models could have been a bit better. They don't look bad, but maybe they just don't quite match the level at which the environments do. Though I have to admit, the zombies look great, perhaps even some of the best I've seen in games yet. The damage models and animations are very natural looking too. They stumble realistically when they're hit, arms can be chopped off, trunks can be smashed out of them, and they get bloodier and gorier the more you attack them, making the combat feel much more satisfying. So the game chooses to go for a much more realistic, gritty tone as opposed to many other, more comical zombie games out there like Dead Island. It puts you into a desolate, bleak world filled with the undead, but the overall colour tones of the game help to create or take away the danger levels of your situation. Through the day, the sun beats down on the dry landscape of Harran's slums and the rooftops of the old town, making the game feel warm and in a way much safer. But as this is taken away during the night, you're left with nothing but darkness, your torch, and a cold looking purple UV lamp to help fend off volatiles, turning this once sunny landscape into a dreary death zone. It's a very violent, bloody and gory game, as you might expect from a zombie horror title, so if you get offended easily, this probably won't be a good choice for you. The game focuses more on survival aspects, forcing you to look for specific components to help you on your journey. There's no regenerating health, meaning you'll have to craft medkits in order to survive. Weapons deteriorate over time until they can't be used effectively anymore, so hunting down for new ones and crafting upgrades and improvements, like adding nails to a baseball bat to improve its overall damage, might make you choose and prioritise your weapons in order of importance, using the stronger ones only for tougher enemies or in desperate survival scenarios. I should mention that there's no fast travel in Dying Light, so if you do get lost in the middle of nowhere when the sun goes down, you can't simply zip over to the other side of the map to a safe zone. You have to stealthily navigate the city in pitch blackness and survive the night. The game is very much so survival based, and it doesn't hold your hand along the way. If you die, you'll often lose survivor points. A lot of you might not enjoy the survival elements of the game if you just want to easily kill masses of zombies all the time without worrying about dying. Even your typical biter zombie, when in groups, can overwhelm you and become your demise. The game can seem quite difficult at times, but it never really punishes you too much. Though if you do end up dying miles away from a safe house just before getting somewhere you wanted to get to, it will annoy you. Quite a lot, having to trek back there all over again. There's also a few cool touches, such as using the PS4's built-in controller mic to transmit radio calls and other effects to immerse you in the action. Dying Light has online co-op, for up to 4 players, allowing your friends to drop in and out of your game. You can go completing missions together, or just run around bashing zombies' heads in and explore Harran at your own pace. There's also a competitive Be the Zombie mode where you can enter other people's games if they have the option to be invaded on, and take control of a night hunter who uses tendrils to traverse the map and hold on to players to kill them. It can be very fun toying with players in their own games, but it's also very tense and thrilling to the human player who's being hunted by the night hunter. Humans must destroy the night hunter's nest in order to win, whereas the night hunter just simply has to achieve 10 kills. It's quite nice to have something like this, perhaps even just to break up the single player portion of the game every now and then. So the map is split into 2 areas, the slums and the old town, both with loads of side missions and places to explore. Planes overhead often drop supplies, where you can claim them if you wish for valuable resources. Chests can be found and opened, new weapons can be created, and you'll have a lot to do to fill up that skill tree. Random survivors can be found in the world, which you can choose to help out. It's little distractions like these that will help increase the game's overall longevity. The actual story is probably about 15 to 20 hours overall, though if you choose to do the game's side missions and explore the whole map, it can last for over 50 hours. There's also the competitive multiplayer mode if you run out of things to do, and downloadable content to extend the game even further. Dying Light is a violent bloodbath of fun. It has a cool, if not sometimes challenging parkour system to get your head around, an impactful combat system, setting up for some truly entertaining kills that crank the gore level to the max. If you like smashing in a zombie's head with a shovel and watching their brains scatter across the pavement, Dying Light will probably be the game for you. Its story can sometimes feel a little flat, especially at the beginning of the game, but the overall experience is good. The game can be very challenging at times, but I guess this just adds to it being more about survival and less about the mindless killing, though it did get frustrating when I might have died unexpectedly by something unavoidable. I enjoyed how the game mixes things up with the day and night cycle, and overall there's quite a lot of fun to be had with the game, just don't expect it to be super easy. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. Please be sure to give me a like if you did, and make sure you subscribe to my channel to see all my other reviews, tips, guides and upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.